Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Two Comma Coffee Club. I am with my lovely co-hosts Valerie and Lene, and today we've decided to talk about getting out of your own way, because once you're out of your own way, only then can you come from the state of the wish fulfilled. So everybody say hi, tag a friend, please, in the comments. And Val, do you want to talk about it first?
Oh my goodness. Well, there's so much to talk about with getting out of your own way, because a lot of times when we have the state that we've decided to be in, and the desire, the wish that we want to do that doesn't necessarily prevent bumping yourself out of your state. So you might be having an inner dialogue with yourself where you're kind of shooting things down, or you have too much, you're forcing something to happen, or you're keep expecting to find a sign for something to happen, or somebody says something to you and it knocks you from your state and you feel you've reacted. And so there's a lot of little things you have to keep coming back to your I am state so that you can again go forward. But if you get too anxious, if you keep looking, we've talked, like when we answered the question a few episodes ago about persisting in your state and what happens when you start having feelings and thoughts that come up because you're not seeing it out in your 3D. And this is, I think, this one thing of getting and tripping yourself up because you don't necessarily see it manifesting on the dot as soon as you had the desire.
Yeah.
That this may be the number one thing that I am seeing. Somebody from South Africa just wanted to message me, and when they did, their first thing that they said, "Oh, you mentor in this?" And I said, "Yes." And could I ask you something? And I said, "Sure." And right off the bat, they're talking about they have this particular thing, and they've tried for months and they don't see it manifesting. And this is probably the number one thing that people have, and the number one misconception that people have, that is the thing that they have to get out of their own way about.
Yeah.
So anybody want to, if either of you want to jump in, I mean, I really think that this is probably the biggest, the biggest pitfall that maybe needs to be really brought more forward in even talking about manifesting, or beginning to teach it or coach somebody in it, because the beginning of it is really, first you understand we've always been manifesting, but we didn't do it consciously. So all the ups and downs came from things that were in our imagination that are now being put in front of us. But when we fine tune it and we start to learn that, we're driving the bus, we can decide which way we want it to go. And but then the number one thing is, you're driving the bus and there's a detour, there's road work, there's a pothole, there's a speed bump. You're manifesting those things too as you're driving this bus. So they're going to jump up and bite your butt if you let them. So if you keep feeling you're getting knocked back on your butt because of this thing, you then need to stop and go forward again. This is kind of how I'm seeing it. It's like it's going to bring in front of you what your patterns are, what your tendencies are. You're going to really see all this. So you have to be prepared for that. And then say it's okay this is just showing me this feedback, and I'm going to move forward and get back on the bus and drive the bus again. Because that's what happened to me.
Sorry, we've got 5 viewers at the moment. Can everyone say hi if you're watching so that we know you're here?
Hi, guys.
Great subtitle, guys. Caitlin is watching. Hello. I was at Anchor's yesterday. We were meant to do this recording yesterday, and it's totally their fault. So I took my girls round because Anchor does our nails. And I took my girls went there, and I met them there because I know Anchor has lovely coffee. So I thought, I'm going for a coffee. So I went, and she was doing my nails. And then her husband started talking about this Romanian soup that they've made. And Poppy decided she was hungry. So he said, I'll warm some soup up for you. So he was telling me that it's got all of this wonderful goodness in it and that there's nothing artificial in it. It's all really good for you. And my Daisy went, ugh, soup. She hates soup. She doesn't eat soup at home. And I looked over at Anchor and I could just see the little thing go across her mind as if, Daisy enjoyed that soup. And I looked at her and she looked at me, and I bet we both had, like, our wish was both the same. Daisy had some soup. Anyway, he warms this soup up, the smell coming from their kitchen. Oh my God. And I sat there and went, oh my God, I can't wait to taste this soup. And he said, Michelle, do you want me to warm you up some? And I was like, no, I'll just taste some of Poppy's soup. And anyway, the next thing I know, we were chatting, we looked over, and there is Daisy with Poppy, and they've both got spoons, and they're both eating this. And then I thought, I wonder what else there is to taste, because it was Romanian food. I hadn't tasted Romanian food. And so I totally surrendered in this happy thought of Romanian food. And then he brings in, and I saw a message saying, are we still recording? And I was like, shit, that's in half an hour. I can't make it. And he brings in, Alex brings in this dish, and on it, it's got all chopped up different meat on and Romanian cheeses and this chunk of like beautiful sourdough bread. And he went, Michelle, try this. And I was like, I've got to surrender to this desire. I can't do the show. I totally surrendered.
It's making me hungry.
Yeah, bliss on soup. Oh my God. But by the way, Michelle, she did a great, your nails match your coffee cup today. I don't know if you know, at least the way it appears on my screen, they're the same color as your coffee cup.
My old nails, and they've got my little smiley face on, but they're faded. My appointment's actually tomorrow morning. We had the yesterday morning, and it's got my smiley face to my happy cleaning company on it.
I love it. They're faded, but it's very well coordinated with your cup. That's all I can.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we're talking about blocking your blessings. If anybody has a question around that, there are things that can keep happening, and I think one is that we get anxious or impatient.
Hi,
and yes, we keep looking around and we're seeing the circumstances around us as not reflecting what it is that we want or seeming not to. So the feeling that we have is that we're doing it wrong, or that this process doesn't work. Yes. And there's something wrong with manifesting. Now, this isn't for me, but you can't not have it be for you, because it's what you are and it's what you do. And we're going to do it. So you might as well get used to doing it in a way that you will see is the way to bring your desires into reality. Why not? Why not move with that current rather than fight the current? So what's happening is you're trying to swim upstream. You're going against the current of what you want, because the idea is it is going to happen in time. That's the other part of what Neville taught, is that it is sure. He always says it is sure and will not be late, because we're looking at linear time. Anyway, yes. We're stuck in the linear time warp. And we do that over and over. So we're in that loop of believing it's like Okay. And then I'm going to see, okay, but how's that going to be? You know, it's like if I'm in a particular situation and I keep going, you know, now when people say they manifest fast, what does that mean to in your own experience, Michelle? You know, had that like where, well, like it just happened with the soup. Look how fast that manifested.
So fast. So fast.
Because that's what you had. Now, if somebody is wanting to manifest a promotion, if they're wanting to manifest a job, if they're wanting to manifest, you know, a big change of some kind like that, or, you know, the new lover or the new or the partner or whatever, and they don't see that happening, you really just want to keep coming back to what it is that you're wanting and clean up any inner conversations, because if you're what Neville called the mental diet. Now, as I'm talking, you may realize that I'm bringing in a lot of different tools of Neville's here. There's a lot of things that apply. So you have to understand, those of you out there have to understand, it's just using these tools. That's what they're there for, is using them to your own advantage, so that you can manifest what you want, what you really, really want. Because it may turn out that what you think you want is really not the thing that you do want, or that because it's what you think you want, the universe is going to keep showing you that until you get to what you really want.
Anka said something to me yesterday. It was really quite funny and it really tickled me. She said, and I think what's really key here is what you said is, even if you don't want it, whatever you keep thinking you don't want, you're going to produce. And she said that when she first started doing this, and sometimes it still happens, is that that her trail of thought goes off, and out loud she tells herself to shut up. And she said sometimes she even does this in the street when she's pushing her son, beautiful little Vladimir, around in his pram. She goes to herself, shut up, just shut up. And she said people must think she is absolutely insane. But she has to physically do that in order to stop it from going off. And I think when you need to get out of your own way, you find whatever mechanism you can, whatever it is, to stop yourself from the thought training. The really great thing is that you're noticing consciously that your thoughts going off in the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. And really, in order to get out of your own way, telling yourself to shut up no matter where you are.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's right. And sometimes, well, there's a technique from like Buddhist meditation or meditation in general. And it's like, you know, you're meditating and you're wanting your mind to be quiet and thoughts come in, or it's a negative type thought, to say cancel, you know, like you, but that's, you see, but the mind is always going to be coming up with its shit. This is what the mind does. It's its job. That's how it works, you know. And one day I have, you know, I would love to have on Marie J. Porter. She's of course in the Neville groups, and she's a hypnotherapist, if I'm correct. And she recently did a wonderful thing about, it was a post she did on Instagram, and I wrote to her about it because she said that negative thoughts are kind of like something the mind does as a protection. Well, this is something that just, I went, whoa, what is this about? So I wrote back to her, and I basically, and I'd love to know where she understands this from, what this, how, you know, how, where this protective kind idea of negative as protective. But I said, if that's the case, what you may have is if we, instead of, and this is what makes it harder on us, is we go, oh my God, I'm having this negative thought. Now I'm even more at war with myself than I was before. Now it's even worse. You know, you jerk, you had a negative thought. Oh, stop it. You know, so now you're compounding it. But what if you just went, I'm having this, oh, you're trying to protect me. It's okay. Because if it's a protective thought, if you relabel positive and negative as protective and, I don't know, creative,
supportive and
supportive, beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. And you played with it that way, you'd have a whole other thing, whole other relationship to your thoughts. So part of it is having a little bit more friendly relationship to your own thoughts, so you're not beating up your mind all the time. And that's part of why the blessing gets blocked, is because we have to stop and recalculate and recalibrate and blah.
Yeah.
So but there's another piece to this. And if you're having, you're having these thoughts about how long it's going to take. This is something that I want to mention. David Breslow, he's been, of course, a lot of you know, he's been a guest with us, and he's written some wonderful books. His second book is out. We want to have him back on to talk about that. But he did a post recently in the Vibe Project group, and it was one of his best ever, because he says it's a dialogue between God and this man, and God is saying, you say that the universe is abundant, and he goes, yeah, but you're also saying that you're broke all the time, you can't get any money. So he says, yeah. And it's this incredible dialogue, because the guy, he says, you can't have these two conflicting thoughts. If you believe that the universe is abundant, you're part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're only going to get that prevailing belief. But if you believe that it's never going to happen for you, or that your predominant state. So it's like, if your desire is to be the loving wife, husband, partner, but your predominant state is forever single, this is never going to happen for me, I can't find love, how are you ever going to get that?
Yeah. And Marie, she's a psychologist, I believe. So the psychology behind things like this, the negative thoughts and things, I mean, just think about how people self-sabotage themselves. So if we take manifesting out the woo-woo law of attraction, if we separate that and just look at psychology and how our brain works, and all of the beliefs and stuff we've soaked in over the years, you can see why people run into this brick wall of, they start dabbling in the spiritual side and saying, oh yes, everything is abundant, all of this stuff, but then mentally they're not aligned with that. And so you can see that's where that conflict is.
There's that difference between, I mean, you get so many people. I used to be one of these. I used to be a reader and not an active participant in my life. I used to read about the abundance. I used to read about the manifesting, but I never participated. It was like a call to action, and I just never did it. Only when I came to Neville did I actually move with that, and actually I've started acting. And when we're looking at getting out of your own way, I really think that you have to decide, like David Breslow says, whether you're asleep or awake. And only about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I decided to wake the hell up. And I mean, it's like Dr. Rose, she says hers is wake the hell up, sleeping beauty. Well, I really decided that I've slept for far too many years of my life, and now's the time. And actually, it's been a very interesting curve for me. I'm going through lots of middles, and I'm really enjoying it, actually. I decided that I was not going to be on the poverty line anymore. And there are lots of things that can keep you there. And there are lots of other outward beliefs and outward influences that try to keep you there. And you have to then try to break the mold. And as soon as you decide, like I've been doing cleaning and caring for elderly a few days a week, well, I don't want to constantly do that. That's not what I want to do, but I still care for those people. So I started creating an imaginary scene where I would be just enjoying having a coffee with them. And actually now I am owning my own business. I have several people that help me within that business. I've just taken on Lynn as a virtual assistant so that we can get that. This is going to be a very well-oiled machine, so that then I'm at home managing it, but I'm going round to those people's houses and I'm still having a couple with them, still caring for them, still having a chat with them. But somebody else is doing the work, and I'm also being the blessing to those people who want the work. So it's all round blessings. And then I can focus on my children's books. And I've got I've got two children's books coming out before Christmas. I have one that is just being reviewed, and I'm waiting for that to come, the submission to come back to say that it's all done and dusted and ready. And the other one is the children's book from my Habitat Drive series, but we've gone bilingual. So with the illustrator, she's Spanish, and we've converted the story so that there's English and Spanish on each page so that children can learn the other language. And it's a surprise. I mean, if you think about it, this time in just over a year and 3 months, I will have produced and published 6 books, set up a cleaning and caring business, and Chris Nelson, I've just reached out to Chris Nelson because I've got this novel and I keep talking about it. I've got this kids novel that I'm halfway doing. I've got ideas on how the end comes. I know the ending, and actually this book is going to be so successful because of how rude it is about farting. And I saw my end, and since I have done a Feel It Real scene of seeing the complete finished book, Chris Nelson keeps entering my head. So I've just emailed him this morning and said, listen, Chris, I've done this Feel It Real session, and ever since your name keeps popping up into my head, would you consider helping to support me on this project? He hasn't answered me yet, but he's going to. But what I mean, that when I go back to get out of your own way, and so many people, you say you just have to decide, and I used to think, what a load of shit. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It totally really is. Are you going to decide to become limitless? Or are you going to hit that glass roof and then never get any further?
Well, that's right. And in fact, our friend Cody T has her Limitless Fulfillment boot camp coming up. So
Anthony Johnson wants a cleaner, Lene.
You know, so all those.
Anthony Johnson wants a cleaner.
So hold on. So everybody's going to you're going to be national pretty soon. Maybe the two of you will actually, here's a prediction. You're going to merge your international and be international. Okay. So that's manifesting.
Yes, Lynn.
That's on totally on the list, right?
I already thought of that.
What you're both, see, that's why I said it, right? So,
why the hell not? We're doing everything else.
I know, exactly. Because what you have that you're doing that's so phenomenal is you're being the blessing to other people who need the income. You're being the blessing. This is summing it up for those who didn't, who may have just tuned in, that you're being the blessing also for the people you're serving, because you're taking them up to another level. And because the two of you are gifted coaches and mentors, you bring that element into what you're going to be doing, because you're just going to focus on the PTSD, trauma, anxiety. Yours is taking care of maybe seniors and other incapacitated people, homebound, whatever. So, many years ago when like over 20 years ago, when I first came to Florida, for maybe about a year or so, I did like, what is it called? Like home health aide. It's not a CNA because it's not a certified position, but you kind of did helper stuff.
Yeah,
for
like a personal
for
assistant.
people. But like kind of, but it was sometimes reminding them when to take their medication.
Yeah.
You couldn't give it, but you couldn't administer the meds, but you could tell them they needed reminder, or you did errands, or you took them to an appointment or whatever. And, or even just sat there with them while they watched a TV show and brought them a glass of water or a cup of tea or something. But that level of just being there with them is a very uplifting thing to do, whether you realize it or not, but you're bringing these extra elements into it. So in any case, we've been talking about, persisting, expanding, and look how that just both, if I look at my own, I recently was needing to update my resume. My bio. And as I was starting to do it, I went, oh my God, just from the time actually where I started I'm looking at something, all these things are new to it from like the last year and a half or so, or 2 years that I never would have had before. Starting a podcast, starting the podcast, doing yoga videos, teaching, manifesting, opening into coaching, all these new entrepreneurial things, those didn't exist. They were, they still had to be imagined, right? Publishing 2 books. So all of that is because at that point, when you're doing that, that's where you're getting out of your own way. I mean, we have Dream Driven Day to thank for a lot of how that got us started. That was the initial kick in the butt for I think all of us in a different way, that you published your book, Lene, then I published my book, and this was all coming out of that particular DVD. And so it really does pull you off to where it's just going to roll right through. You're going to have to get it out there. You're going to have to start.
Sorry, Zully's just said that she wants these children's books. My books are called the Habitat Drive series. You can find them on Amazon and on my website, which is michellefitzsimmons.co.uk. And also, Anchor mentioned something about I make the best choices state. Now, we were discussing this. I was terrible procrastinator, so I just wouldn't make a decision. I would do anything. I would avoid making a decision. And it would come to a point where when I then did want to make that decision, it was too late. I'd gone past being able to have made it. So yesterday I said to Anchor, she said, oh my God, you're like really buzzing. And Friday I went round there and she's just created this, we're calling it Nailed It, and it's do-it-yourself luxury nails, and she's done such an intense booklet, like a how-to on to do your own nails, and it's a really clever step-by-step guide. Her photographs are fantastic. They do every single step, and she was asking me how to put it out on Amazon, how to do, and I went, and merchandise it. I said, you need a logo. We're going to create an online shop. I said, you can have like nails gear with your logo on it and all this. So we went from how to loading something up onto Amazon to this whole big business with merchandising and everything in a matter of seconds. And she said, oh my God. And I said, Anchor, I am coming from the state of making quick, sharp decisions, and they are always the right one. And she said, how? I said, you just know this is the right decision to make, and you go with it, and that's it. There's no hesitation anymore. You just do it. And so, yeah, everyone borrow this state because it makes you move.
That's right.
Move.
My mentor in digital marketing, the amazing James Wedmore, who understands he's got a deep involvement with mindset and manifesting, and he talks about objections, or even I think procrastination, not wanting to. It's arguing for your limitations. When we say, is this, I don't have the time, or I don't have the, you're arguing for your limitations. He also says that the mind, because it uses up 30% of the energy in your body, that it does everything that it can to conserve energy. So having to make a decision uses energy, so it's going to hold back as much as it can. So you have to, so it's being able to get past those, the barriers. That's what I was saying, the protective thoughts, all those things that instead of the supportive thoughts, it's going to come up with every trick in the book. But now, you sailed past that because you're not coming from that part of the mind anymore. You're coming from the other state.
When I was talking to you about being on the poverty line and benefits, being a single mum, I've received certain benefits, and also I received a particular benefit. But if I earn over a certain amount, I can no longer receive that benefit. Okay, so that's where my mind was at. Oh shit, if I earn more, if I go past that, then I won't then get that. And so that I used to have this conflict, and it's so funny seeing who I am now to who I was then, because as soon as you decide that you're a money maker, because that's what I've decided, I'm a money maker.
You're a money generator. That's even right.
Yeah. As soon as I've decided that, I look in my bank account and I press the paid in, and I see, because my paid in, when you have online banking, your paid in is different color to your paid out, right? Do you have the same? So
I think so, yeah.
Well, when I click on my paid in, my paid
I
in
need
is
that.
colored purple, and my paid out is colored black. So, and when I open my bank account and I see all the wonderful purple coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I like that. Purple.
But it's not even when you are wanting to get rid of your crap on eBay, say, or one of your local buy and sells on Facebook. I always was the one where I used to think, God, why does everybody else's stuff get sold? Hello, wake up, money generator. My stuff flies. So I'm not even talking about huge sums of money. Just that I'm a money generator creates money coming in from everywhere. Yes, Lynn, money.
Right. Money comes from the unseen.
Yes, money enjoyer.
Money what?
Anchor says money enjoyer.
Money enjoyer. Money comes from the unseen reality. Money doesn't come from the treasury. I mean, money comes from I mean, they make the paper things, but the wealthy things come from the unseen reality. It comes from, some say source, but it's, so you are the money. If you say I'm making money, it's a little bit falls back almost into the employee mindset, but you're beyond that. You're not in the employee. You're the entrepreneur. You're the CEO. You're the empress.
This is really interesting for me. Earlier in the week, because of COVID, when I go to collect my children from primary school, we have to drive in the car park and we pull up, and at the end I just drop them off. At the end of the day, they get called on a radio walkie-talkie, and when we arrive in the car park, and the kids are sent out and they get in the car. We don't go on the playground still at the moment, So anyway, I used to, before COVID, I used to work at the school temporarily whenever they needed me. And I used to be desperate or in need of that type of job so that I didn't have to work school holidays, because I have the 4 kids, And this week, a vacancy came up with children that I've previously worked with and that I really connected with, and I was offered the job, and by the teacher that I used to work with, and she said, listen, Michelle, the point is if I go for the job, it would be mine. And I sat there in that car And I smiled to myself thinking, but I don't need it anymore. I don't need that security. I don't need to have time off in the holidays. I don't need the glass roof where I can only earn that amount of money. And it was really funny. You see the difference. As soon as you get out of your own way, your opportunities and what you end up doing and generating goes way past what I was desperate for at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting, that you can look back and say, that's where I was. Well, you were desperate for. Now, isn't that the key right there? You were desperate, but now you're dream driven. You're moving forward from from the state of the success and the money generator and all of that you're offering. Totally got out of your way. And this is all, and all of this is opening up for you.
Well, if back to when we did the Neville Summit, and when I talked about the what if, and,
Yeah.
you don't realize the whole time you're going, oh, I want to, quit my job and go do this. But what if I end up homeless? That's currently my what if. What if I, lose all my stuff and it doesn't work out? And what if this? And it's like, slow your roll. What if you buy an even bigger house? What if you get that car you want? What if your business is so booming you can't even keep up?
Hello.
Just reverse it.
Exactly. That's exactly. I was doing that exercise.
I remember you saying this in the week.
Thing the other night. What if? And it's all you just flip it. And what do you also notice in your body when you first have the? Yeah, it's like you're floating. When you have the heavy what ifs. What if I lose my job? It's like all like you're right.
Yeah.
It's like feels like you're sinking, and then you go, what if I have to buy an even bigger house? What if I get the bigger car? What if all this starts to happen? And you're like, wow, this feels so.
You feel lighter, don't you?
And you're like, damn, why did I waste time saying the other shit?
And here's the thing. Here's the thing that you're also going to notice. How many people have? Maybe you've even felt this way about yourself. People will say, I'm a pragmatist. And then they'll start to put all the what ifs that are like this, because that's pragmatic.
Yes.
That's being careful and cautious and realistic. And the people who are doing this, oh, you're just woo-woo space cadets. You're just floating around your fantasy world. No, because to the mind, to consciousness, why not? You can just replace one with the other. It's not going to actually know. It's not going to know the difference between one kind of thought and the other. Why not put the one that's going to actually move you to that state? Because all the people going around being, I'm a pragmatist, they're facing all the problems. They think that they have those kind of problems. But the thing is that what happens is, in the 20s taught this, James teaches this, that when, as you grow and you move on to these greater business, challenges, or as an entrepreneur, these new stages of growth, that the problems you have change, and they're, and like 20 goes, what would you lack? So you would be lacking the worry, but your problem might be an incredible problem because you have to talk to an accountant, hire an accounting firm to set up your taxes or something, a new foundation for all the donations you're going to make to charitable organizations. I mean, it could be something huge and serving humanity, so it's like, it's a whole other level of decision making.
Yeah.
And problem solving,
Yeah. Yes.
And my business partner, she is like that. So for instance, last week we had our first official business meeting before we kicked the business off. And which, by the way, like flew off, I mean, just immediately as soon as it dropped. And so it was very exciting. But before that, when we were discussing everything, she's like, my goal for the month is to have 10 clients. Well, it's October 10th. I just dropped the advertisement on Thursday, a few days ago, and we have 5.
Hi,
We're
Caroline.
halfway to her realistic goal, because that's how she put it. We got to be realistic about it. And I'm like, yeah.
Have 10 in a week, man. What's that? 10 a month? Have 10 a week.
Yeah. So I, and so she had the wow, like how quickly it went. And then the same thing happened regarding an investment we had to make regarding a booking service to put on our website. And so Friday, and it was going to be initially $99 a month. And so she's my money, my numbers person, the tax person, like she's doing all that, what I consider boring as fuck. She thrives on that. I thrive on the people aspect, the writing, the advertisements, the creativity stuff, right? And so that's why we're perfect balance. And so when we were discussing numbers and stuff, I had said, this is going to be $99 a month. It's a great investment because we really need this online booking service to make it easier for people. That's one point of advertising, is how easy you can book with us. And so she was a little hesitant. We had our meeting Friday, and then I think it was last night, she texted me, and I guess was just so excited about just how this has just been rolling on. She's like, $99 is like nothing to me now. Like the thought of even investing that into our business, she's just like, oh no, that's fine. And it just shows, even if you are a person who wants to be realistic and look at reality, that you can still do that, but then also enjoy the miracles of surprising yourself, like, oh, this is working out.
No, what it is she shifts so that her reality, that is her reality.
Mm-hmm.
Being realistic is $99 a month for that. So what?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can be like, right? And then you're going, no, it's a breeze. What's the big deal? So that's really the whole, that's what the whole thing is about.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's true. A lot of people, do. That's what also, of course, benefits packages that are worth X amount of dollars, scholarship refunds and all these things that corporations offer are absolutely what keep people in their jobs. Even if they don't particularly like the jobs, they stay because of the packages. So that's the issue that comes up for a lot of people, even no matter how badly they want to move on.
Oh, hi, Marie. You have to rewind and get it because we mentioned you earlier. And Carolina, we love you too. Thank you all for watching. Guys, if you have any questions based on this topic about getting out of your own way, you're hitting a glass roof, or you feel like it's not just a speed bump, you're hitting a brick wall and you can't get through, please message us on our page, put a comment in here, or you can email us at 2coffeeclub@gmail.com. Because when we make these lives on a weekend now, we can address your questions, and we would really, really love to engage with you that way. So if you've got a topic you want to discuss, then you can message us. That would be really great. But that is all we've got time for. Val, just quickly mention your radio appearance today.
Yes, at 6 p.m. I posted this on my on our 2 comma page, and in my own page. I will be a guest talking about manifesting the new meditation, or it's really becoming very common and is being referred to sometimes as the new meditation. And I'm going to be on a dial-in show called The Inspirators. That's Inspirators with a capital N. It's a new spelling. And the announcement is on the page with the phone number, and it's at 6 p.m. today. That's 6 p.m. Eastern time today. So I invite you all to join us on the show if you can.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And don't forget to follow 2 Comma Coffee Club. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And look for our books on Amazon.
Thank you.
Bye, ladies.
Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you all for watching. Join us for a coffee next week.
That's right.
All right. Bye.